Alrighty, these are my final thoughts on the Mirage Motel. So, it was a very short game, even with my commentary and side thoughts and meandering. I think playtime came in at less than 40 minutes. Overall, I enjoyed the game. However, that enjoyment is based primarily on the first 20 minutes of the game. So, how do I put this? The game started out exceptionally strong and had a lot going for it, and it was setting up a lot of really good characterization, a strong story, and a lot of the visual and art assets were doing a very, very good job of supporting those elements, and I was excited to get into the story. The problem I have is there's no conclusion to it. You know, we have I'm going to say haunting, for lack of a better word, when Kirby is dreaming, hallucinating, whatever he was doing, seeing the purple people eaters all around and freaking out. And for the most part, it seemed like that was in his head. You know, maybe it was he didn't take his meds, maybe it was nervousness, maybe it was guilt at disobeying his parents, maybe it was nervousness about being with Leo, some combination of all the above, other things. You know, there's about 50 different ways that could trigger that kind of thing in someone who deals with anxiety and probably some paranoia as well. The problem is, there's no payout to it. If it had just been all in Kirby's head, I think that would have been a really interesting way to explore it. What did the purple forms represent in Kirby's mind? You know, why did the Jello, whatever it is, fill the room? Was there some semblance to what the purple forms were doing when he saw multiples of them? I understand that they were supposed to represent, him. But are they his fears, his regrets, his concerns? It's never explained. And then it turns out Leo saw them too. Okay. Why? If Leo saw them too, that means they weren't in Kirby's head. They were actually present. These were not mental illusions. These were things that were actually in the environment. Where did they come from? What are they? If they, are they actually coming from Kirby? And if so, why are they coming from Kirby? The apparition at the gas station. Was that in Kirby's head, or was it not in Kirby's head? It was shaping up to look like it was going to be a head game. It's all in Kirby's head, and it's going to be metaphorical, allegorical, suggestive. But then you get to the end, and it's just, it might have been real, but maybe it wasn't real. So, anyway. I'm going to rate this on 4 categories. Those categories are going to be writing, art, music, and characters. My scale is a 10-point scale. So, first category, writing. As I said, the game started out very, very strong. I liked the way the story was set up. I liked the naturalistic movement from point A to B to C to D. Going from seeing Kirby in front of the store, seeing him be nervous, waiting for Leo, then meeting Leo and he's excited, he's not paying attention, almost gets hit by a car, still angry about that, by the way, to being nervous with Leo, to maybe acknowledging he has a crush on Leo, to dealing with that nervousness, being in the car with Leo, to the nervousness at saying, hey, I need to stop because I gotta pee. That was all really, really great. I was getting really invested in Kirby. It was really well done seeing the world through Kirby's eyes. And again, as someone who's dealt with anxiety and ADHD in his life, a lot of it was spot on. I thought that was really, really good. But then that's where it ends. Like, there's no big payoff to any of the setup. You know, it's like, oh, Kirby faces his fears and acknowledges, yeah, I have feelings for Leo. And Leo's like, oh, okay, I do too. Okay. I mean, that's great. I'm always happy when someone finds, a connection with someone that makes them happy. What were the purple forms? What was the purple slime? Why did Kirby's vision seem to change after he was covered? What was the apparition? Why did it show up in the gas station? Was it even there? What did it mean? So, overall, I'm going to give Mirage Motel a 5 out of 10 on writing. Solid start, poor payoff. For art. Art is one of those things in visual novels that I always feel kind of bad about trying to rate the art in a visual novel, because it tends to fall into two categories: simple and effective, or really high quality and indifferent. And by that I mean simple but effective. The art is serviceable. It works, it allows you to identify characters, environments, and what is happening, but it's nothing spectacular. As compared to really, really good, spectacular, amazing, but indifferent. And in those cases, the art tends to look really good, but so what? Usually the characters are bad. Mirage Motel actually kind of manages to hit a middle ground in a third direction compared to most of the other games I've done feedbacks on. And that is, the art is fine. There are no problems with the presentation. I can identify the characters, excluding the purple people form things. I still don't know what the heck those are. I can recognize when they're in the car. I recognize when they're in a motel room. That's all fine. You also did some really, really interesting effects, which, hey, props. You did a really good job on that. But in comparison to the rest of the game, the art kind of overshadows itself. The effects were really, really good, but they didn't support anything in a lot of ways. The effect when Kirby took his glasses off and everything was blurred. Okay, that happened. But it didn't lead to anything. There wasn't a point where Kirby was desperately trying to read a message on his phone, but he couldn't find his glasses. The shaking effect from when Kirby ran to meet Leo. Same thing. It was a great effect. I was kind of looking forward to see what that was used in. And it wasn't. The driving effect with the trees moving along the edge. That was fantastic visually. But that's all it was visually. It's kind of a weird way to say this, but the writing let down the art. Overall, I'm going to give the art a 6 out of 10. The art was fine. You did a lot of interesting things, gave some cool visual effects. But those visual effects didn't support anything to invest me in the story itself. Alright. Music. I will be honest, the music was very much a kind of hidden hit. Like, how do I put this? The music doesn't stand out on its own while you're playing the game. But it's subtle enough that it sets the mood in a lot of places. especially with like part 2. You probably saw that the way I was reading it and inflecting and acting, I was trying to, give a voice to the way I was interpreting the characters. And a lot of what I keyed off of was the music. The music set the tempo and helped with the pace. And okay, I'm supposed to panic, so I'm supposed to do this faster, do this, nervous, do that. And the music worked very, very well to do that. So overall, I'm going to give the music 7 out of 10. Okay? And then we come to characters. So, objectively, there were only 2 characters, Leo and Kirby. Kirby was really well written for about 80% of the game. The last, 10 or 5 or 10 minutes of the game, it was like we're getting to the climax of the Kirby character. Oh, that's the end of the story. Wait, okay. So the climax is he admits he has feelings for Leo. Okay. Well, what was the build up to that? Again, like if, going back to the writing, if the purple forms and all that, crazy imagery was in Kirby's head and he has to deal with that, that's great. That's a good setup. But then Leo saw it, which makes Kirby dealing with, his fears and nervousness and all that a secondary point. It's like watching a Godzilla movie and getting invested in a character, seeking out their loved one because you think it's going to lead to something with Godzilla. And it doesn't. So it's like, okay, so we finished this. Now what about the rest of the story? And then the other character, Leo, he was there. It wasn't until the last, 2 minutes of the game that Leo seemed to be his own character. And, it was easier to connect with Kirby, but that was mostly because he was the point of view character. Leo was an object character that simply didn't have any substantial development of his own. Everything was Kirby's perspective. Which, again, cycling back to writing, if that all fit together and everything was in Kirby's head, I mentioned the possibility that Kirby's medication had anti-hallucinogenic properties to it. If that's what it was, a combination of stress, regret, fear, guilt, and being off his meds was leading Kirby to have like a low-end psychotic break, as he's trying to wrestle with, his feelings for Leo and, disobeying his parents and overcoming his nervousness and his anxiety and not being on his meds. Okay, that'd be great. That makes it a very strong single character story. But again, that's not what we got. We got purple people eaters dancing around the motel. And Kirby and Leo admitting they have feelings for each other. Okay. So, overall, I'm going to give characters a 5 out of 10. So, my final thoughts for the game tend to boil down to answering 2 questions. One, what would I pay for this game were it on sale? I know this is your entry for NaNoWriMo Spooktober. If this were on sale, I would say $1 would be fair for it. And the second question is, do I regret playing it? Did I enjoy it? Would I play it again? Well, as I kind of keep hinting at, I enjoyed about the first 80% of it. The last 20% really kind of let me down. I really kind of felt like we were moving into, an examination of Kirby's mind. Why is he seeing this? Why is he reacting to this? What does this form mean? Why is the purple goo doing this? Why did his vision do this when the goo touched him? Why was the arm coming out of the phone? Was the phone actually ringing or was he hallucinating it? And nothing. So it's almost like It's almost like I was playing Silent Hill, and none of the backstory was put in. You know, Pyramid Head is just a dude in a big ugly mask walking around with a sword trying to kill me. It doesn't have any relevance to my family. It's not part of my psyche. So, I mean, honestly, like, if you went back to the drawing board and wrote up, you know, a more in-depth exploration of Kirby, and use that to explain why he is seeing these things, I think it'd be a much, much stronger story overall. So, but those are my final thoughts on Mirage Motel. You know, I do, one other thing I do have to say, since I do know that this is your entry for NaNoRenO, everything I've said in these videos are my own opinion. I do not have any connection to the NaNoRenO competition or the judges. I have no input on them, and anything that I have said in these videos should not be taken as some sort of objective statement about overall quality relative to the NaNoRenO, nor should you take what I have said as some kind of measuring stick for your chances of winning. I wish you luck. Everything I've said in these videos are my own opinion.